Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to a breaking Anfield Index special. Damn you, Sam McGuire. Here we sit. It's about 8:45 on a Friday night, and you think everyone will be gearing up for talking about the Carabao Cup, any embargo pieces that might come out, and basically anything around a final which takes place in under 48 hours. But no, the breaking news is something we know many of you love. It is completely different and it does centre around transfers, people. I'm your normal host, Dave Davis, coming to you from a quiet Edinburgh. And let's be honest, you don't really care. You want me to get straight into the news for this, don't you? There is only one place to start. Now, I mentioned Sam McGuire there. It is his exclusive. I think that's important to say because people will often talk about exclusives and say, well, what does that really mean? Well, let's not forget Sam was the person who had the exclusives around the three that could be leaving this summer and also had the exclusive specifically around Darwin Núñez and the Al Nassr offer. That was proven to be true, wasn't it? And verified by numerous journalists in the end. We know Sam, he doesn't stick his head above the transfer parapet unless he knows something certain, if he's almost double checked, double resourced his articles. The history, the track record is there. Why is that important to say? Because in simple terms, there is a Sam McGuire exclusive out tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let me share the screen with you if you're on YouTube, just so you can see this one. As Sam is saying, Liverpool line up a club record bid for Julian Alvarez, the former Manchester City forward who moved to Atletico Madrid for around £80 million in the summer, was flying at City, is flying there, 25 years old, a name that I think for many has almost come from nowhere because it's important. Sam mentioned in this article, if you think about the players we've been linked with recently, Alexander Isak's mentioned absolutely as one of the options. Another name to quote for you as well, Benjamin Sesko. He's in the article as well. So Liverpool are looking at this. There is a shortlist developing. But more importantly, as per Sam McGuire, Julian Alvarez is right bang on that shortlist. Now, that is important to say. And there's a fair bit of detail in the article. So just a few call outs. Liverpool actually tried to get him last summer. That's mentioned specifically in the article that Richard Hughes, remember him? He actually flew out to speak to his agent Hidalgo in the last summer to try and get that deal done. Also, there's connections with Julian Ward and Liverpool's South American scout, and I'm probably going to absolutely butcher his name here, but I think it's Gonzalo Zegras. It's pronounced has a good relationship with Alvarez at the same time. So they did try last summer, Liverpool. However, let's be honest, that was never going to happen, was it? Not at all, because in simple terms, Manchester City were not going to sell to a direct rival. Alvarez was looking to move on, become the star somewhere, and he's gone to Atletico Madrid, where it's gone so well for him. Now, there's a few things to talk about as well around Alvarez that I'm sure many of you saw his goal the other day for Atletico, the one against Real Madrid, and sure I've heard he's been doing quite well. But what do the actual stats, what does the analysis actually say about how Alvarez has been getting on so far? Well, if we go headline, importantly, this season, impressively, 22 goals and 5 assists across all competitions. 10 in the league. Maybe it's the Champions League where he's been shining more. 7 goals and 1 assist in 10 appearances. Maybe people would accuse of stat padding in the Copa del Rey with 5 and 6, but some real impressive stats to have 22 goals already this season and 5 assists, so 27 goal contributions is impressive. Now, someone's going to say to me, is it really that impressive? Well, actually, I think it really is, especially in the context of Atletico Madrid and where they sit in the league currently. That's really important to say. Yes, they are right up there. Yes, they are competing for a La Liga title, no two ways about it. But when you look actually at Atletico Madrid, look at their style. It's based on a side that's conceded only 18 goals, which is brilliant, but they've scored, only 44. So Alvarez is putting those figures in a defensive team. He's got 10 out of their 44 league goals. And that's not a criticism at all. We all know how El Cholo, Diego Simeone sets up. We know how he gets the maximum from his team. He is a god in that Metropolitano, isn't he? And I'm sure Alvarez has got that connection with him at the same time. But if you think about it, that makes his stats this season even more impressive. No two ways about it at all. The others to quote as well is people are talking or mentioning around the Arne Slot quote around a facilitator. That's what we wanted. And Alvarez isn't a facilitator. Let's just think about this. If we go back to last season where he was at Manchester City, and we were on the end of a few of his goals, in all honesty, his stats for Manchester City were quite telling. He actually got, if it loads here, 19 assists, but importantly, 19 goals even, but importantly, 12 assists in all competitions. So hopefully that is going to load for you any second there. But I'm looking at the figures for transfer marked, and as they indicate at the same time, really, really important to say, he played in a few different positions. Almost Haaland is the star. We know that completely. There's no doubt about that. So he almost played second striker. Sometimes he was the centre forward. And as it says in some of his games, he was actually out left for periods as well. So we are talking about a player that, for a Manchester City side, got 12 assists last season, which makes me think, how can you not say he's a facilitator or someone that can link it all together? In that season for Manchester City, 31 goal contributions. So just keep that in mind when we talk about him, that don't just rule him out as a striker, too small, not suited for our style, as I'm seeing some people say. I even saw a couple of tweets today about, oh, he's more a Jurgen Klopp than an Arne Slot signing. What absolute nonsense that is. Absolute nonsense. And Bart's would kill me if I didn't do this for you as well. Let's have a look at a few of his wagon wheels, how he compares against other strikers. There's a natural place to start with Diogo Jota, isn't there? And how he profiles. So if you actually look on the FB ref charts like me and Bart's do, there's not that big a difference if you look between the profile. There is a lot of overlap there. Maybe Jota, you can see shading it in the XG, the assists, but that is bound to happen. Think how attacking Liverpool is and think how defensive Atletico Madrid are. The contrast is so stark. And like we do on TMM, if you look at certain bits quickly, I mean, from a defensive numbers, tackles in the 88th percentile, blocks in the 84th. As Bart's always says, Liverpool always look for a real work rate, a defensive element from their forwards. Quite often, they look at interceptions. Now, he's only 47th percentile for those, but a player that can do tackles and blocks to that high level and that consistency, surely, and he knows the Premier League as well, easy tweak there. What does he do between the boxes or between the lines, as Bart talks about it? Passes and pass completion really high. 95th for attempts, 89th for passes completed. He's good on the ball. Now, whenever Bart brings these two together, he always asks, is this player progressive? Well, Alvarez is in the 87th percentile for progressive passes and the 92nd for progressive carries. He moves that ball closer to goal via a pass, or he carries it all the time as well. And you see, especially with these carries, successful take-ons, the 78th percentile. It's 9 o'clock in the evening where I am, and I'm almost drooling at this. There is so much to like from these surface numbers. Shots, we always call that out. Now, Bart's always mentioned it's about 3, isn't it, that Liverpool forwards are looking for. Mo Salah is a little bit different, so he goes higher. In a defensive team, Julian Alvarez, people will say, oh, he's on the 64th percentile, but he's averaging just shy of 2.83. And that's in a team that's only scored 44 in the league. So imagine he came into a more attacking team. You could easily scale up certain numbers. And an important stat that we talk about for creative players and who can make things happen, i.e., a facilitator, shot creating actions, he is in the 91st percentile. That is absolutely staggering. So any nonsense about he's not a facilitator, he's not going to suit Liverpool style, I think it just proves it's absolute nonsense on this one. Price is what it will come down to. You fancy, will he go? Will Atletico want to sell? It's an interesting one because Isaac's mentioned and he's talked about 120 million minimum, isn't he? Probably more, bidding more. Arsenal could get involved. Sesko is mentioned. Now, he has a gentleman's agreement. It's said to be a release clause, but it's not. It's a gentleman's agreement with Red Bull to go for a certain amount. So he feels like a cheaper option almost on the shortlist. It's fairly believable that Julian Alvarez is bang at the top. Absolutely right at the top because of the price. You'd think they could get him below the 120 million mark. Almost Atletico flip him like a house almost, isn't it? After a season, maybe even 120 million around that mark. But for his age, his pedigree, and the other thing to consider, he doesn't have the injury history that Alexander Isak does. There is a lot to like about this potential transfer. Share your thoughts when you see him. But, ladies and gents, on a Friday evening, that was a breaking news special.